All right, hey guys, welcome in. This is Mr. Schuette and Mr.
Herr.
Mr. Herr. He teaches at the high school. You guys, hopefully, one day we'll have him at the high school. If you're, so what do you teach at the high school?
I
do
teach
variety. But you guys switch it up too.
Yep. So I teach art foundations, and I teach glass and metals. I teach painting one, and also we'll be teaching photography in the future too. So
the reason I wanted to do this is because we've kind of become almost like best friends. Like over the last 2 years, we have so many similarities, and that's one thing we could talk about too. But I like to do like questions like with different people, and I feel like with this, I might only get like some of the same answers that I have. So I'm kind of be like interviewing myself, which is nice. But why art? Like I have a couple reasons like why I chose art. Some more serious and why I chose art, like besides like teaching, I should say. Unless you wanted to hear my answer first and then go off.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
cool.
So one of the reasons that I chose art, we always have our skills and our interests that we have. Like I always did art, but it was more like secretive. Like it wasn't as cool. I don't know, I'm a little older than you, so maybe it got a little cooler by the time you did it. But I always kind of did it in secret. Like we had the same teacher, Mrs. Birschbach, showed up to her. And I always did it, not like in secret, but a little bit. Like it wasn't something that my friends like, knew that I did. And that, so I always liked it. I always enjoyed it. My sister went to school for graphic design, so I kind of got a little motivated by her, like to do something in the arts fields. But I definitely didn't think I had the skill and ability to be like an artist, or like graphic design really wasn't, because she was 4 years older than me, and I saw her like starting to get into like design layouts of papers and newspaper and stuff like that, and that wasn't really for me or whatever. So that's kind of how I like got into it. But then education like just seemed like a little bit more safe, and I always liked working with kids, and I always wanted to be the teacher, like especially like the art teacher that I didn't have, like especially early education wise. Like I loved like my high school, my college professors, like I really loved that relationship. But I never really had like a good early art influence, I guess. But I had a lot of good other teacher influences, so I kind of want to combine like some of those interests and passions. That's how I guess I got into art.
Yeah, mine's very similar.
Imagine that.
When it comes to the teaching aspect of it, but how I got into art was basically like, it was like the first thing I discovered that I do that like empowered me.
Sure.
You know, so when I was younger, reading was a really, really hard skill for me to learn.
Okay.
And so I just started drawing, and I just remember drawing like dinosaurs growing up, and all of a sudden like, oh, this is cool. And then my uncle just showed me comic books, and I saw comic books, and I was like, whoa, I can draw that really close to how I see it. And then that really empowered me to want to keep drawing. And as my brothers were getting into like hip hop dancing and stuff, they would like go do their own thing, and I would just stay in my room and just draw.
So I guess spiral off that, like, was it, because I that made me think of like being able to like get recognized for something. Like I was always good at like a lot of things, whether it was sports or school, like I was good, but I was never like great. I felt like at sometimes like when I did art, like I got to that level like where I got recognized a little bit differently.
For sure.
So that
for
kind
sure.
of made
People
me
knew that he could draw. Peter's the guy that can draw.
Sure.
Berg is the guy that can draw.
Okay.
So it really empowered me to want to keep drawing, and then I got into anime. Really, fed my hunger for doing like drawings. It's just anime and comics are just so cool.
Yeah.
I saw that.
And I still have a lot of kids that we were talking before that I have that are really interested in anime and really could do literally every project that I do. Can I do anime or can I do this? Like they get in that little comfort zone, especially in elementary. Like they probably do a little bit in high school. They get in that little comfort zone of what they can draw.
So many of my students, like they just have sketchbooks of just all their own characters. It's amazing. Anime and cartoons all my life. Like drawing realism was just the next step up, and then like being able to draw realism, I was like, oh my gosh, another empowering moment, and then that really pushed me to keep drawing. And then also just a lot of my art now is just reflecting my life and my experiences, and like I just used it as an avenue to like express that or kind of relive those memories through my artwork.
Yeah.
So a lot of my artwork is kind of like yours too. You just kind of retrace your memories through making the art of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was only like I could never afford the basketball shoes. Like we have a deep shoe collection and a shoe passion between the both of us. But I could never afford like the shoes. But I could always draw. Like, and that was always something cool. Like I maybe didn't have the shoes that I could wear, but I could have them hanging up on my room. Like so that was a big thing for me. Like
yeah, and then when it comes to the teaching aspect of it, I had amazing teachers throughout my life, and we had Miss Birschbach together, and like that really, her relationship that I have with her in high school really inspired me to maybe make sure to kind of influence youth as well into the art. And I also worked at the Boys and Girls Club, and so those two experiences really helped me want to become a teacher. And I think now the most important thing as a teacher, a high school teacher for sure, is like building an authentic relationship with students, and then hopefully like giving them some like empowerment in their art making too, and that's like a life skill they can continue to hold. And like if they work hard at something, they can always make something happen. So.
Yeah, and that's the same exact. Imagine that we would have something
Yes,
similar.
right.
Again, that's really why I do it too. Is even though we teach at different levels, like elementary and high school, you might think that it's a lot different, and a lot of our philosophies might tweak and change a little bit. But really, that's what I'm trying to get across to my kids, because I only see them such a short time, and you might only have them for such a short time, where you build that relationship in a more authentic way that keeps them coming back and keeps them interested. And that's why I kind of started like the YouTube thing, is just to keep them when I don't have them, to kind of keep bringing them in and keep bringing them some sort of interest and still have some sort of relationship at a higher level besides just the classroom. Like, you got a question, or you want?
Do
you want the form, or I can give?